Welcome back to the podcast. Going to roll into some mobility and knee stuff, eh?
Yeah, bro.
Sort of bread and butter for us.
That's it.
Yup.
How you feeling?
Good training session in that.
Yeah.
So, bit of good work on the laptop just then by us.
Yeah, hard.
Got heaps of stuff out of the way. So,
Let's get to rolling, cuzzy.
Yup.
All right, question number one. What do you think mobility really means, and how is it different from just stretching?
yeah, so mobility to me is flexibility plus strength plus stability, sort of bit of control as well.
Yeah.
So I think people get that wrong, when they think about mobility. They just think it's stretching. But that strength component is probably the most important. Being able to move through range of motion with a lot of control and strength. And then when you get into those sticky situations, whether it's on the footy field or in the bottom of a squat,
Yeah,
you've
mad.
got that strength at that end range to just help you out a bit. And I think that just lessens the injuries quite a lot, eh?
Yeah, that's cool. I like that, bro. I like that. For me, story. So back in 2022, I sent you this program, and it was just basically all stretching. And then you sent back to me, bro, why don't you try incorporating this? And I was like, what's the difference? I go, well, this is going to help you get long, but this is going to help that long stay strong as well. And that to me is what mobility is.
Yep.
So just to jump on back on what you said, Brennan, I truly understand that and believe that myself as well.
Yeah, and just developing that strength part, is
Yeah.
super important. It's no point being flexible and just not having that strength. I feel like just being that part of strength where you're building that injury resilience definitely is going to play a part into your gym work, or if you're still playing sports as well. Because when you get injured, you're buggered. You can't improve when you're injured, right? You only can work on little things. So that's sort of my meaning behind it. I think some people get it wrong. Just, it's just stretching, blah, blah, blah. But
yeah, we get that all the time. I get that all the time, bro.
Yeah.
I'm just man, you got to understand there's so much more to this than you realize. And I feel like the mobility aspect is building somewhat, would say, the evidence for your long game or for the stretching. So, you got the stretch over here, but the mobility is what helps you keep that stretch or that length that you can find.
And mobility just gives you some real good body awareness too.
Yeah, bro.
There's some people who we start who can't even touch their toes. Then after a few weeks, we've put them through the elephants and J curls and sort of reteaching their body. You can hit these certain ranges safely.
Yeah.
Sort of reteaching your body and your nervous system. You can get to these end ranges if you practice.
Yeah, mad. I like that, bro.
Done. For you, what happens when someone skips mobility, and how does it mess with their performance?
If you skip your mobility, it affects your performance because you're not able to move how realistically you're meant to, I feel.
Yep.
Perfect example for me. I know if I don't look after my hips and I go to do a training session or even go for a run back in the day, my knees take the load. When my knees take the load, injuries happen.
Yeah, and sort of you compensate in ways that you shouldn't, right?
Compensation, bro. All like that, man. And then you start feeling those imbalances more. Then you start feeling something's off with the body. And that confidence that you have in yourself, if you're lacking it and you go in to do something that, takes strain, then, bro, that's how injuries happen.
I think it helps with being durable.
Yeah, bro.
I feel stop. It's hard to train generally. And then if you got niggles and injuries popping up, it makes it even harder to keep that consistency over the long term, I find.
Yeah.
And we see that with our clients every day, right?
You can see that with the guys that play footy too, bro. I'm not trying to point, shoot shots at anyone, but, there's a lot of guys that we know right now that are injured in the sport, but, we watched the journey when they first started, when they went overseas or when they went and did all these programs, and you can sort of see that it phases out. They're not paying attention to the stuff that they learned when they were doing this. And a lot of it's mobility based.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff that they're doing is understanding how to walk better, understanding how to move better. But you go away from it, bro. And if you just go away from it for longer than 5 to 6 months, then shit happens.
Yeah, I roomed with the Broncos physio, and he had some good just thoughts on where the boys are lacking. They're a lot in the hips, hip flexion, hip extension, external rotation, internal rotation, and sort of from that, they can perform on the footy field real good.
Yeah.
Like they can walk around busted, and then when it comes time to train, they're on. They can do their job. But then it's sort of, I don't know, is it after like year 3 or year 5, going on the tough fucking slogs of preseason?
Yep.
The games are building up, sort of that wearing down, and eventually sort of pick up little injuries.
Yeah. And I had this conversation with Kennedy came over yesterday, and she was talking about her knees. So her knees started playing up from the Maldies. And she's like, I don't know what's going on. I was like, bro, you've done pre-seasons, a couple in a row now, and this is when it starts happening. I started getting sore around that 3rd year mark. There's so many stories that we know of people that, 3 to 5 years or 5 years of footy or pre-seasons, then you start like feeling shit. You're not young anymore, so you got to start looking after yourself.
And if you think about it, like, pull back a little, the body's not really supposed to play rugby league.
Exactly. Cuz I had this conversation. Yeah, good point, bro.
Yeah, it's not built to play rugby league.
Not at all.
10 seasons in a row and do all that.
Yes.
Our body's like, I don't know, whoever invented the body didn't invent it to play like
rugby
a contact
league.
sport.
Yeah, bro. And like, fuck, this conversation's so fresh, bro. Like, and thinking about that too, one, I went for surgeries, and surgeries aren't meant to happen. You're supposed to like be injury free. So why are we so afraid of doing extras if we're putting our body through extras anyway as well?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like if you're playing a sport that really wasn't meant for you, then you need to be doing things that you feel like you haven't done before. To keep the Ferrari in the like racing basically. So yeah, it's a really good point, bro. It's a really good point.
Yeah, we've always tried to like figure out the split of, so we're rugby league based obviously, so that's where our minds go, but this sort of applies to any sport of, as you get older, what's your split from like trying to get stronger in the gym and faster and fitter compared to try and build like a little bit more resilience,
Yeah.
so you can sort of last longer,
Yeah.
because once you're injured, you're effed, pretty much.
Do you think, this is from my standpoint. So for right now, right, my split would be I'm very focused on obviously losing the weight, bro. So mobility, I wouldn't say is in the back pocket. It's more like in the shadows.
Yep.
Now, if you're playing sport or rugby league, in for instance, like what is that split? What does that look like for you? What do you think?
I'd probably go, say if I had to break a session up into an hour, like 40 minutes, performance-based 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Mobility, resilience, rehab, tendon strengthening would probably be a good split. And then probably say your SG ball. See, this is tough.
Yeah, that's
tough. Do you want to build that in already? I think before a player gets to NRL or any professional sport, it would be good to have a lot of mobility and
a foundation, bro.
How to tick off a few good standards.
Yeah.
So when you get there, you know how to squat properly, you know how to deadlift, you know how to hinge.
Yeah.
Your hips are rotating the right way and sort of already have a bit of movement in the body instead of getting to grade.
And then start learning.
Yeah, and then your workload's probably double and then you start breaking down.
Because we didn't understand how to do that. Oh, bro, honestly, I didn't know how to fucking train until I was 21 maybe. You know, when I started hanging around Fitzy and Minicello and all those guys. But that was through NRL. Like, imagine if I just applied a little bit of that before, bro. I would have been, one, a different player. Then two, I probably wouldn't have had a lot of the problems that I did face playing NRL too, bro. So, yeah, it's a good point, man. I reckon the earlier the better. And it doesn't have to be big too. Like you said, bro. Tick off some standards. Maybe add like 5 to 10 minutes into your workouts. And then, you're in a good stead.
100%.
Next one, bro. All right, got a story of someone who learned the hard way about ignoring mobility.
Fuck, probably me and you. So we ignored it the whole time, like not knowingly though. Like we didn't know better, so we just did what we thought was the right way. You knee injuries, me hamstring. What else? Groin. I had issues, like heaps of soft tissue injuries. Being an outside back, you're sort of built a little bit fast. But when you got tight hips and stuff that I didn't even know I did in that, when I was coming through the grades, you just don't even know what mobility is back then.
No clue.
I didn't find out till I was 28.
Yeah.
Doing a bit of Kelly Starrett, I think. I first started with him when I was in France. Probably I was 27 by then.
Is that the CrossFit guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
I've
like
seen
the
him,
old school. old school,
One of the
supple,
OGs,
supple
yeah.
leopard type
Yes.
type guy, which is good. But yeah, we're perfect examples of just being injury ridden, sort of things that can be avoided as well. It's not like injuries are not sort of bad luck, or they can be if you get hit from the knee, but like going outside those impact injuries where you got no chance of not getting injured, sort of like those soft tissues, and it's sort of just trying to put everything to give you the best opportunity of not getting injured so you can play better.
Earn more money, just all the shit, bro, that we wish we knew.
How do you see mobility setting us up for stronger knees and better training?
Fuck, I just said it before, bro.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, if you can move, perfect example, if you can move your hips better, you can get more range of movement for your knees. This is for me. And if I can get more range of movement for my knees, I'll become stronger.
Yep.
Nice and simple. So, as an example, last year I got injured in Mudgee. Locking out my knee has been something that I haven't been able to do. Working on the lockout and building the strength through range first, through my hips, and then getting that range into the knee. Knee feels fucking 1,000 times better.
Yeah.
And that's just from a mobility perspective, bro. And then you add me losing weight and all that sort of stuff on top of it, and lifestyle changes, and bro, it's just like a big juggle, you know what I mean? And lacking that mobility during that time and not understanding how important it is takes a big part in how I move daily.
And then the load's just going into the right spots instead of just jamming into the knees the whole time.
You know, the best thing that you showed me too, bro, was David Gray, who's I think he specializes doing, obviously a physio, but he specializes in understanding lower body basics, and that the connection that the pelvis has with the leg and how the distribution throughout the leg should be all even. That's not me, bro.
Yeah.
All the distribution is going straight to my fucking knee. Which is why it was sore, bro. The muscles weren't firing correctly and in the same spot. So, for me, that's what mobility does. Mobility helps you understand or unlocks everything to help the knee, and then the knee can move better.
And then everyone's all different shapes and sizes, different body weights, different heights, different leg lengths, different pelvis setups, joint setups, so it's sort of, you're just trying to do the best that you can with what you have, pretty much.
Building that awareness for yourself too.
Yeah.
Like understanding how your body can move.
Yeah, 100%.
That's the most important one.
I'll hit you with a knee question, eh?
Yo, hit me, bro.
Why do you think knees take such a beating, and why do they matter so much?
It's one of the main joints, man.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, we don't fucking walk on our hands.
Yeah.
That's the perfect one, bro. And how many people, let alone footy players, do we know that have knees problems? And like, I've done the data for myself, how many kilometers I ran during a 10-year period, and it's fucking heaps, bro. Like, you went to the Maldives last week, and how much did the guys run in one session? Like 7K?
Yeah, so we did light sessions, and it was about 4, but they're doing in pre-season, I think, up to 10.
Up to 10?
I heard someone do 14. I don't know if that was bullshit, but yeah, in like a hard session.
You think about that over a pre-season, and then you think that over a year, and you think that over 12 years, bro. Where do you think the load goes?
Yeah, I think that compounding factor of year on year on year on year.
That's
kills it.
Exactly right, bro. And that's why it's so important, one, to look after your knees, because they are the money makers.
Yep.
For me, they are, in all ways. But yeah, ankle first, get that fucking wicked strong, knee next, and then slowly start working. But everything works together.
Yep. Good.
I got you.
Yep.
All right. What's one common knee problem you've seen, like weak quads or tight hamstrings?
Yeah, both of those.
Yeah.
But it's sort of understanding that you are weak in those areas first, and that's by doing certain exercises like the step-ups.
Yep.
Because you can do, what have you done heaviest?
Double.
Yeah, double body weight.
Body weight. Yeah.
For a step-up. But then if you haven't done that exercise and then you first do it, you're doing 60.
Yeah.
But I feel like in that short range of motion, like you need that heavy load.
Yeah.
And that was what was good with knees over toes, right? He had certain standards and would sort of say, oh, okay, I'm here, but there's his standards right up there. So that's what I like about the standards, and sort of took that to mobility as well.
And it's easy to display too, bro. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, I can go through old videos of myself and I can just look at that video and know how well my knee was moving during that time. And then, bro, I can look at myself and how I was moving at the midway through last year and understand why I got injured during Mudgee, because I was nowhere near that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's a pretty cool point, bro, and it's very true.
That's like when we get niggles or injuries now, we can sort of be like, yeah,
That's why.
I haven't kept up with this part, so that's why I'm getting that type of injury. But first is sort of just having that awareness and doing things that are a little bit different than what you're normally doing. If you keep on doing the same type of training and getting the same injuries, then you need a little bit of a change.
Yeah. Most times, bro, like the changes are only subtle. You know, they're not big ones. You know, for example, you know, for myself, a small change that I would do would be adding height to a Patrick step up. You know what I mean? Like at the start, because the knee was feeling funky, I was only short range one. But then I add one plate and then two plates, and it's just, oh shit, I've got a whole different range of movement to work with. You know, it doesn't have to be big. The point I'm trying to make is it doesn't have to be big, but you can sort of build slowly through time and repetition as well.
And I think people change exercises too often before they, you know, they already thinking of, oh, I've done this for 4 weeks, what can I do next? But the variation is in the weight and the way you move, not the exercise changing. So if you're changing it every 4 weeks, how good can you really get at something?
Yeah. Just might as well narrow down and do this, not the same thing, but just do subtle changes, bro. That's where it all counts, I reckon.
Because strength takes so long to build, right? You can't just do 4 weeks. Okay, let's do Bulgarians all of a sudden.
Like, I feel like, you know, how would you feel if someone... If we asked any of our clients, you know, can you do the same thing for 3 years straight? You know, because that's what we do. That's how we train. Obviously, you're trying to keep people happy, but just by having those subtle changes within our programs and all that sort of shit. But yeah, at the same time, man, like, got to be willing to do the same thing and let time dictate how well you're moving.
Yeah, I had who was it? A client or something? Just mixing up programs too much.
Yeah.
Just feel like just sticking to the same thing really builds that strength, and then like once you have that strength base, even if you change it up, say I went from like, you know, those fancier exercises, like, I don't know, a landmine, something, fuck, if you can squat 200 or something like that, you go to a landmine and you're going to smash it anyway, like anything.
Yeah.
If you're strong, it sort of is going to flow on effect to all those other exercises anyway. But long as your base is like, foundations are super strong, then all those variations just come a lot more easier.
Yeah, it's just capacity, like we'll talk about. You know, the higher your capacity, then the easier other things become. And even like everyday life, bro. Being able to, if you can fucking deadlift 300 kilograms, I'm pretty sure you'd be able to pick up a washing basket off the ground without fucking your back pulling out. If you do, then that's when it comes back to something like mobility.
So how do stronger knees and better mobility let you push harder in your workouts?
Stronger knees, better mobility, can train harder. Fuck, I can only go for myself, bro.
Yep.
So, for example, you know, with my sessions that I'm doing at the moment, because I'm doing a split squat with half my body weight in my hands, I know that I'm able to move or progress my program into something like a heavy VMO squat with dumbbells or a sissy squat to the ground unassisted.
Yep.
Those are the progressions that I think and work towards. You know, at the start of the year, bro, it was only body weight. I wasn't doing anything crazy. I wasn't adding weight. But you can see, even through my Insta stories, the progression that I'm doing through every workout is just an increase in one range or my intensity of the movement or even the exercise. You know, because I can do those split squats now with that weight in my hand, I know I can hit a sissy squat, which is, you know, that evidence that I'm building to get to that place in the first place. Sorry.
Yep, 100%.
Yep.
I think like when you go into training, just that pain factor.
Yeah.
Like you're not always sore, so you can do more the next session, and it's sort of that building on each session instead of doing an exercise and you're busted and your knees are busted they need a 3-day rest. It's sort of just keeping that consistency and training it around it. You don't always have to do legs. You know, you can do a well laid out program is going to hit it enough just so it can recover as well.
Yeah. And just being able to understand that sometimes you have to regress to progress too.
Yep.
You know, being able to strip the workout back or even like the ego back too, just so that you can move forward without pain, without even discomfort, man. I think like that's what the gains for me have been over the last 2 to 3 years, even training around you, bro. Like understanding that, You know, like it's okay to kick back and just work on movement and then slowly build that consistency up and the evidence so that you get to a point where you're like, fuck, I'm ready to bang now. And that's how I feel. That's why I feel so good.
Let's sum all this up by saying, like, what's the main things that people are doing wrong in regards to knees, and I'll hit it with mobility.
Just trying to do too much. Keep it simple. Keep it effective. You know, if you do have problems with your knees, 1, get a good plan. And then 2, dial things back just so you can work on the foundations first and then build. And if you do need a hand, then reach out to someone.
Yep, 100%.
Like myself.
Mobility-wise is just getting awareness first. So an assessment, I always do assessment and then get your video form checks in, because when people do it themselves, they doing it wrong. I found out, so that's why I introduced video form checks into my program.
You're nice.
When I first checked it, the videos coming back, I was like, man, they're doing it wrong. So they might be doing it wrong for 6 weeks, so you're not getting anything out of it. So that's the main thing, and then just the way to measure your progress.
Yes.
Not just stretching for the sake of stretching. Not doing like mobility flows or stretching yoga flows and all that. There's just no point without trying to reach for a certain standard and seeing where you started and then the progression through photos or videos.
Because when I started with you, bro, I was leveraging your experience. I already knew that you had done all the shit that I want to get to.
Yep.
So why not use what you know now and then fucking go hard for myself?
Boom, done and dusted.
Shot Kazi. Boys are on.
On.